Yeah.
Happy New Year to you too. I'm
Okay.
happy to see you
Yeah.
this year, although belatedly, but it's
Yes.
good to say Happy New Year.
Mr. Governor, I don't see that happiness in you so much. Or are you affecting with the AU thing?
Yeah, of course, I was one of those who were in Addis Ababa,
Yeah.
went to give moral support to former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, and of course, our expectations were very high. If you remember,
Yeah.
I was one of the people who were interviewed live, and we were very hopeful. But again, whatever happened, happened. But like we have said, it was victory for Africa. There was no loser or winner. The victory was Africa to remain united.
So what next for our candidate? Let's just call him our candidate now.
Yeah, Baba will come back and just like he has said, he will give a way forward. Of course, he has very many followers in Kenya. Whether if he chooses to concentrate on the local politics, that is still open to him. If he chooses to retire again, that is his own his latitude. He can choose what to do. But I think he has played a key role, and you could see that he was a very strong candidate. He won in round one, round two, and those other factors came into play. But I think we welcome him back, and I'm sure that yeah, he will play a key role. And one thing that must come out, and I must really thank the former Prime Minister, is he looks at the bigger picture. Even when we were in Addis, he stepped down. You notice not that he lost. He stepped down at the last minute just to allow, because that other guy was not going to get that three votes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
if the stalemate was going to be maintained, then they were going to suspend the whole exercise for 1 year. Yes, and then
After that year, Musa Faki was going to retain the
yeah, to
position.
retain for 1 year. Then after that, then Kenya, after 1 year, Kenya, Djibouti, and Madagascar will not present candidates. So instead of leaving, creating that in having that abeyance, Raila Odinga decided to step down so that the election can be decided. I think that's the kind of heart that he has always had. Remember, even in 2007 when things were, everybody expected that he was winning the election and the country was burning, he was willing to sit down and say, okay, let us have the Mukate. Even when Uhuru was the president and I was the speaker, again, when the things were not really working in 2017, again, he was able to say, okay, I'm looking at Kenya, the bigger picture of the country and putting my personal interests first. So I think those are some of the things that flag him out as a statesman, as a leader who's willing to sacrifice for the sake of the bigger picture.
And we have seen so many things that happen. Like people are giving out their opinions. Do you have blame game? According to you, I'm happy that you're in Addis Ababa, you saw everything. Is there blame game?
There's no blame game. One, the president Ruto did his best in terms of campaigning for him,
Yes, yes.
marketing him. He did his best. But again, there are a lot of lessons to be learned from what happened in Addis Ababa. You find that sometimes it's out of envy. Sometimes, there was the problem that has been there of the francophone and the anglophone.
Yes.
That is the French speaking and the English speaking.
Oh.
So you realize that when Raila won the first round and two, and Madagascar withdrew, SADC, the South African, the team, the Southern Bloc, who most of them are French, therefore decided to vote for Djibouti, just to stand together, their own.
Okay.
So in fact, we are thinking that maybe in future going forward, they need to look at maybe a rotational kind of approach in terms of the francophone and anglophone. Otherwise, the way it is, the anglophone are fewer compared to the francophone. So when we go to a context, they will always win. They will want to vote with their own. So those are some of the lessons that you have. Remember, even Amina Mohammed. Then again, we had the northern Kenya, the Muslim aspect also. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board. If we have to continue presenting candidates, we have to go to the drawing board, look at our foreign policy, and again, of course, things will not help when the DRC issue crisis is there, and we're being suspected to be supporting one side. So that also made it a bit difficult. Then there was also the Israeli issue, where and remember the Palestinian Palestinian president was there, and Kenya, we know at some point we had expressed our desire for support for Israel. So again, that also did not sit very well with some of the Muslim countries. Then of course Morocco. Remember Sahrawi, which has a problem with Morocco. So all those factors put together, I think played us in. But these are lessons to be learned. That next time maybe we need to do it differently.
I'm happy today I'm having a governor. There is so many questions that are being asked about devolution. And Baba is one of the people who they are the engineers of devolution, if I'm not wrong. They say that Baba had a very good idea that could work, but he brought it to the wrong country. I mean. Why are they saying this? They're saying this because they feel that a lot of funds are being mismanaged at the county levels, while others feel that since we have county government, things have been brought at the doorstep. It is very easy for development. What's your take on this?
I am one of the gurus actually when it comes to devolution because I worked as a district commissioner when we had what we call decentralization. Then devolution, the difference between decentralization and what district commissioners is that it was more of delegated power, where decisions were being made at the center and you just implement at the periphery. Devolution now, the difference is devolution, the resources were devolved to the counties. And one of the greatest takeaways in devolution, this devolution that we're talking about, the new constitution, was what we call public participation, where people are given an opportunity to participate and decide what they want. And when they decide, money is allocated based on what their needs are, as opposed to the past where somebody would be sitting, a bureaucrat would be sitting in Nairobi, and he thinks that Bungoma needs water when Bungoma needs roads. So this time people are participating. You remember, maybe you were young, the budget used to be a guarded secret. In fact, there was a minister that was sacked because he leaked the budget. Oh. This time, people participate in the budget making process. If you don't involve them in what you call public participation, then that can be challenged in court and it will not go anywhere. So, for people to say, I think the greatest thing that ever happened in Kenya is devolution. We had teething problems, and I'm one of the first governors, the pioneer governors who went, the pioneer governor for Bungoma when there was no structure. Nobody knew exactly what was wanted. So we worked around on the structure, the emblem, the flag for the county, the seal for the county, putting in place the first CECs, putting in place all the structures to make sure that now devolution fits. Like any other new program, there are challenges that will come. Corruption is something that must be fought not only at the counties. People are now looking at the counties because maybe it's a smaller unit. But corruption, even at the national level, must be fought. It's something that takes us back in terms of economic growth. And therefore, we should not just demonize. Some of the people who are demonizing counties and saying there's just a lot of corruption taking place there are people, they say if you want to kill a dog, give it a bad name, yes, starve it of food, yes, and then you kill it. You have a justification to kill it. Yes. These are people who are anti-devolution. Okay. But we have tried. This is the third what do I say? The third phase of devolution. We were the pioneers, 2013 to 2017, 2017 to 2022. Now we have 2022 going to 2027. So I think devolution has done well. Look at Bungoma, for example. If you look at some of when I went there in the first year, there were no roads in town. The streets were dilapidated. Had to do what we want. And in fact, it's when I started calling that road Lusaka Road because it was a walk path. Yes. And then when I put I marabed, then they said no, a governor's road cannot be all weather. Then the borders named it Lusaka Road. No. So I had to put tarmac. You get that even the health facilities have improved. There are places where, like in Wajir, where no Caesarean operation had taken place. It took place for the first time in Wajir. Wajir people had never seen tarmac. Tarmac has come courtesy of devolution. In Bungoma, for example, I'm putting up high altitude training center for athletes from Mount Elgon. That's the first public high altitude training center. Captagat and Detain are private. And many other things in terms of environment, in terms of education, ECDE, in terms of health.
How this health, the day I was coming to this health because there is something so breaking that we saw last year. I don't want to mention the governor because one day we sit with him here. When people were dying at the hospitals, and then it was alleged that they just bought a V8 machine for his V8 car. V8, yes, a V8 car for underage daughter. yet people are dying in the hospital because of lack of medicine. How is the health sector in Bungoma?
The health sector has challenges, of course. You
Yes.
know, if there's a department that receives the highest amount of nurses, the clinical officers, the doctors, and therefore there's a lot of expectation because health touches on everybody. So as much as we try, a lot of the money, the problem is a lot of money goes into what is called personal emoluments.
Yes.
It goes into the recurrent expenditure is higher than the development one. So by the time you pay all salaries for all nurses and everybody, whatever remains for development is not so much. But we try our level best to ensure that if there are drugs, that we, like in Bungoma, I confirmed the nurses who had been on contract for over 7 years, some 5 years. I put them on P&P. I recruited more doctors. I've recruited last month. I recruited more health workers, about 582, and we are going to continue recruiting because health is what touches everybody. But let us also separate propaganda from facts.
Yes.
If for example, even me, people have said, I've been accused severally that I drive very expensive cars. My friend, I have been working for the last 38 years.
You have love for cars.
In public, of course, I have love for good things, and I have been working for the last 37 years. Honestly, I cannot lack money to buy a car that I want. And for example, now when somebody sees me driving a Mercedes or driving a Lexus, he thinks that that's county money. That's why, by the way, I built my house when I was a speaker, because I knew if I build a house when I'm a governor, they will say I'm a pesa without even checking. I don't know why people always imagine.
But do you know it's you people that normally brings these controversies? Right. Because some of you go to the interview and they say my watch is 3 point something million.
No, but again, if you say maybe it depends on the priorities. You see, for me, I can decide to buy a car that costs say 20 million. Somebody else may have 20 million and decide to put in shares.
Yes.
Somebody else may have 20 million and decide to put up a house. So it depends on your priority. If, for example, I sacrifice and say my 20 million, I want to be in a good car. Yes. That's different from somebody who maybe wants to invest in something different. So it doesn't mean that when you have something good, you have stolen. So we also, because I'm not making this because you see, we must also not, poverty is not a virtue. We must also encourage people to invest. We must encourage people to do what they can do. But otherwise, if any time, our people just want to be, they want you to be the same. Anytime somebody does anything good, you say he has stolen. Not everybody's a thief. There are people who have also worked hard. There are people who have taken loans. There are people
should also live. You should wear things.
Yes, you should wear if you can afford. If I can afford, why not?
Also, on this AU thing, there was a scandal. That you used hundreds of thousands just to publish congratulatory note to Honorable Raila Mulodinka.
Let me tell you, and I clarify that was my personal money. You can check in the county. Okay. 356 was my personal money from my own account. I have been a speaker. I'm a retired speaker. As a retired speaker, I've worked for 37 years. As a retired speaker,
37 years.
37 in payroll. And even as a retired speaker, I am paid handsomely. They pay me. Yes, they have given me a vehicle, 2 vehicles. Okay. Yeah, to be able to use. So I have a salary, a pension, which is not so bad. Yes. So if I take that pension and I put in the papers to wish Honorable Raila Mulodinka to wish him luck, then somebody says I've used county money. Number 2, even my ticket to Addis Ababa was my personal money.
Well, let's talk about this. It was said that over 100 staffs were airlifted to Addis Ababa, courtesy of public money.
No, that's not right. In fact,
that's why they say that the Djibouti guy looks so official and caring, because he was only having the president, just few staffs, like less than 10.
It depends. You see, Kenyans are people who like, and especially Western Kenya and everywhere. We like people. They like excitement. They like happiness. They like support, moral support. Most of the people who went, including myself, used our own resources. You don't need not facilitated. You don't need a visa to go to Addis Ababa. It's free. You just go. So me, I just went to go and give support to our candidate. So even most of the members of parliament who went there, because you see, you will be so foolish because that was anticipated. And of course, I knew that when I put that, people will say
hey, this is the county money. They can go and check pesa yetu. And that was saying pesa yetu does not even pay tax. Anaomba chumvi kwa jirani, anafanya nini pesa yetu. Sasa
wanatumia pesa yetu vibaya.
Ati wanatumia pesa yetu vibaya. Ukimuuliza which one? Hakuna mtu anakuelezea. So we must also allow people to work, allow people to do what they want to do. Anytime you have done something, you know, why do you brand everybody a thief in this country? Anybody driving a big car is a thief. You discourage people even from working hard. There are people who are farmers. Me, I started farming when I was a DO. I was doing wheat farming in Narok. Yeah, so unafanya kidogo, then you grow. You reinvest. But now when somebody just suddenly sees you at doing that, anasema huyu ni pesa yetu, huyu ni mwizi. You know, it's not fair.
So your people have been really congratulating. There is a stadium you just put up. It's very nice and they're very happy with it, and some few things like the roads but there is something that really angered them. There is a bursary that scrapped off. So what was the logic behind it?
The bursary?
Yes.
No, what has happened is, you know, there are functions that were devolved.
It was something that was in before your term.
Yes.
The former governor.
Yes, he did what? He scraped off what?
You came in and you scraped off the bursary.
No, that is a misinformation. There was something called scholarship.
Yes, scholarship.
What we did, first of all, was to rationalize, because not all who were benefiting from scholarship were deserving cases.
Yes.
So when I came in, I did an audit. And we realized that some of the students who are benefiting, their fathers were rich people. Okay. You cannot be dropped by a Mercedes in a school like Lugulu Girls.
That's what you looked at. You did an audit.
I did an audit, serious audit. You cannot be dropped by a Mercedes in the school and then still get a scholarship. That's not a poor person who is driving a Mercedes. That's a person who is able. So we were rationalizing. And we also said, in terms of sustainability, are we able to sustain 12,000 students on bursary and scholarship? Is not sustainable. Number two, it is not our function. The function of the county government, ECD and vocational training centers. That is what is our, and that's why you have seen that the control of budget recently issued a circular, although the matter is in court, saying that county governments must concentrate on their functions. Scholarships and bursary are functions of the national government, but county governments are just doing it out of, you know, as a goodwill to support our students, because as a moral support to our students. But ideally, it's not our function. But that's a matter that's in court. I don't want to get into it. So those who are saying that I came and scraped scholarships, that's just politics. It's misinformation. Yeah, we continued paying even scholarship for students, but those after vetting, serious vetting, and after establishing that the right students are benefiting from the scholarship and the bursary.
We're just winding up, Mr. Governor. There is also this question, because now you are talking about your county as Bungoma. I'm not sure, because I haven't done research. Maybe we have a HIV and AIDS patient in Bungoma, and there is also this threat from USAID, and already it's already closed down. And most the positive people, they think that it's the end, and some of them are really traumatized. What are you telling them on a full glare of camera so that they still have that hope?
In fact, today, we have had a meeting at the Deputy President's, Mr. Kindiki, Professor Kindiki, the Deputy President, and the issue we're talking about was the universal health care, the UHC. And one of the issues that we talked about is the withdrawal, the threat to withdraw. Though, you know, somebody went to court to challenge that in the US. The threat to withdraw a funding which was going to affect the HIV patients and all that. So, first of all, that is a wake-up call to us as Kenyans. And even when you look at my speech in Addis Ababa, I was saying that now we must stop over-reliance on donors and supporters. We must look for ways of raising our own resources to be able to deal with our issues. As county governments, we must now go back again to relook at our budgets, as we even do supplementary, we do the main budgets. Look at now how can we stand in the gap that's going to be created so that our people are not vulnerable, our people are not exposed. For example, for Bungoma, I am organizing a marathon on the 6th of April. I'll be launching the High Altitude Training Center as also a marathon. And all this is, what the theme is, eradicating the triple three. Yes. That's the threat of teenage pregnancy, HIV, and early pregnancy, HIV, and there's a third one. I'll remember it. The 333. So those are the aim is to raise funds that will also assist, because I mean our budget may not be able to cater for all that, but once we also get our own local support and we think out of the box, we should be able to address to support our people. So my assurance is we are not going to leave them alone. We are going to look for ways they are safe, how we are going to support them.
You have just talked about something like withdrawal and withdrawn, and I've remembered something. There are some legislators urging Kenya to withdraw from AU. Do you support this, and is it possible?
No,
do you see the necessity?
You know, that is, I think we should not act out of anger. I think we need to be sober. We need to settle down. I know our expectations were very high. We just need, like I said, we need to address the issues that affected us. And like I've said, we need to look at our foreign policy. We need to look at how we deal with, for example, those issues that I talked about when we have a crisis like in DRC, when we have the Francophone, the Anglophone. Those are the issues that we need to deal with. We cannot isolate ourselves. We cannot not say that we are now getting out of AU. Are we also going to get out of the East Africa community, where our president is the chair? We cannot afford to do that. Sometimes I know these are some of the statements that are made out of anger. But I think when we cool down and sober up, we can sit around and say, okay, this is what happened. We had chances. Let us now see how to...
Because even the president has already congratulated him and given him a first assignment.
Yes, you know, asiyekubali kushindwa si mshindani. When you go and lose in a match, you now don't say we are withdrawing from playing football because we lost in one match. You know, you continue playing. Yes.
I know, Mr. Governor, you have several meetings. You're a busy man. And just two questions under one paragraph about the county, because now you are the governor, you are talking about devolution is our key priority. They say that because of this devolution, Kenyans are overrepresented. And that's where we are losing a lot of money. Then again, another question, they say at the county level, especially governors, this is where we are losing a lot of cash because there is a lot of fake tenders. There is over budgeting. And even when we talked to Honorable Nyonka earlier this morning, he said the problem, the looting comes in at the budgeting, where we will get fake budgets. Then now we start looking at where to take loan and how much money to take, so that it goes to personal pockets.
You know, I told you if you want to kill a dog, you give it a bad name and stuff it and then you kill it. Yes. Honestly, counties have really tried. You know, to imagine that all governors are fools.
Are we overrepresented first?
No, we are not overrepresented. I think the representation is okay. Like, for example, the women rep was an affirmative action just to try and also bring women on board in terms of representation and to be also able to sit on the decision-making table. That does not make it overrepresentation. And then you have the members of the county assembly. Because you see, we formed a county government, which is the legislature and the executive, so that you must have an assembly to oversight the executive. That's exactly what happened. And representation is not bad, because we have what we call representative democracy. So that's how we do our business. So if you don't want to be represented, or how do you want to be, and in fact we're supposed to go lower. If you look at what the Constitution said, it went lower than we were supposed to have village councils. That's where it ended. But again, it was becoming extremely expensive. Village councils, yeah. After the village administrator, we have the village council, which was also supposed to be formed. And this is a constitution that was, if there's a constitution that was widely discussed, because even some of us were born at independence or after independence. Actually, I was born at independence. We never had an opportunity to discuss the constitution the way this constitution was discussed by Kenyans. So Kenyans are not fools to have proposed whatever they propose. We can look at a few other things, amendments, kidogo, but I think representation is important, because people's views, not everybody, like for example, in a ward can go to a stadium to make a decision.
Yeah, because they feel that the scenario we see is that each and every time a governor, after retirement or even while still on the seat, court cases. This one tender was awarded wrongly. Even right now, Honorable Waititu is battling court issues.
You know, if of course, if you don't do the right thing, yes, you will pay the price. People will go to court. They will challenge you. But I can tell you, counties have tried their level best in terms of they are working. Tenders are normally done by the procurement people. What we have recommended, and I will recommend, is to try and digitalize, go digital. Once you go digital, it will not be easy for anybody to manipulate the tenders. And that is why even me now, in health, we have what we call a health management system, which I will be launching, but it has been tested. Or as I sit here on this phone, I can be able to tell you how many patients were treated today in Bungoma Referral Hospital, in Kimilili, in Webuye, how much was raised. So if somebody tries to lie, because it's what is it called? It's real time. Yes, it's real time. So if anybody tries to manipulate that, it's not possible. I'll just ask, the record that I have, as say by 6 or 5, you had collected 3 million Kenya shillings. So where is the 3 million? If you come and tell me we collected 2, I'll just show you that this is what is good. So in tendering, if we can also succeed in going digital, so that the youth, if you are not a youth, because what has also been happening, there are people who masquerade as youths and take tenders belonging to the youth. There are people who are even men but end up taking tenders belonging to women. So I think that if we digitalize and you log in and your age is more than 35 years, based on whatever, it just rejects. Yeah, and then the tender that you are applying, if this is the cost that you have quoted, it will be there in the system and everybody can access. If somebody say the governor wants to favor a certain tenderer, it will not be possible because the system will just reject, and it will show when it was tendered, what was the cost, and what the technical evaluation has been there. But because of this manual thing, that's why we still have elements of corruption, but it's not as bad as people want to paint it, So let us not just demonize the counties. The counties have tried.
Okay. Yeah. Now talk to your people, the people of Bungoma.
I want to talk to the people of
Tell them what should they expect from their governor.
I want to tell the people of Bungoma that this is first of all, to thank them for giving me a second opportunity to serve them. I have heard people saying, people should not be given a second opportunity. That's getting it wrong, because the framers of the Constitution were not fools to have said a governor shall serve for 2 terms, 10 years. That's when you can do something that can be seen. But I've seen a conversation where people are trying to say, a governor should just do 5 years. You can't do much. That let us not get into that direction. But I want to tell them that I'm now doing what I'm calling my legacy regime. The things that people of Bungoma will remember me long after I'm gone. One of the things that I'm doing is I'm putting up a new modern bus park in Kandui. It will be ready, God willing, in April. I'm putting up a big modern market in Kamkuywa, which should also be ready by around the same time. I am completing the Misihu Naitiri Brigadier Road. As we speak now, the contractor is on site to put tarmac to complete. The national government will also be doing this other bit. I brought the energy center in Bumula. And what I want to assure them that every sub-county, I'm completing the high-altitude training center in Mount Elgon. I want to have a legacy and flagship project in every sub-county that people will remember me. Of course, roads and other projects are taking place in the wards. This is courtesy of the executive, of course, with the support of the legislature, who are the members of the county assembly. So I'm just telling the people of Bungoma that in the next 1 or so years, you are going to see a transformation. Even whatever happened, for Madaraka Day to have come to Bungoma, for us to be able to get that stadium, which I started by putting a perimeter wall. My successor, Wangamati, started putting up the pavilion. I came and completed. The national government did the terraces. So we have all contributed. The street lighting that is going on. When I went there, the street lights had completely died. So now the people of Bungoma want to tell you that you will never regret the time where you will not regret why you elected me. There are those who may not like me, who may not say whatever. It's normal. You cannot please everybody. Jesus Christ saved the people, and he was crucified. And they said, "Give us our thief, Barabbas, who had not done anything." So you may do a lot of things. There are those who will appreciate. There are those who will not appreciate. Yes. But I think for the majority, they will see a big difference.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. I'm very honored for you to respect my invitation. And God bless you, Mheshimiwa. All the best. Deliver to your people.
Thank you.